So, good morning everyone. Today I am going to discuss water chemistry under free energy in chemical equilibrium chapter. So, water chemistry, this is a huge vast syllabus. Uh, Water chemistry means there are so many things is included in water chemistry. So, water chemistry means what is the chemistry in water and what are the reaction involved or taking part of with other metals or acid base etc. Okay, so now about water and it also structures, its hybridizations, its shape, geometry etc., boiling point, melting point, turbidity, so many things. Okay, let's discuss. So first about water. A water molecule consists of one atom of oxygen bound to two atoms of hydrogen. We know molecular weight 18. Water is called universal solvent because it dissolves more substance than any other liquid. Okay. This means that wherever water goes, either through the ground or through our bodies, it takes along valuable chemicals, minerals and nutrients. Water is unique in that it is the only natural substance that is found in all three states: liquid, solid means ice, and also gas means steam. So water molecule consists of two hydrogen atom, one oxygen atom. We know this molecular weight is 18. So water is also called universal solvent because it dissolves more substance than any other liquid. This means wherever water goes, either through the ground or through our bodies, it takes along valuable chemicals, minerals and nutrients. So water is unique in that it is the only natural substance that is found in all three states. Okay. So liquid, solid and gas. Water's physical properties. Water freezes at 32 degree Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degree Fahrenheit. In fact, water's freezing and boiling points are the baseline with which temperature is measured 0 degree on the Celsius scale. Okay, is water freezing point and 100 degree centigrade. So 0 degree Celsius on the Celsius scale is a water freezing point and 100 degree centigrade is water boiling point. Water is unusual in that the solid form ice is less dense than the liquid form, which is why ice floats water has a high specific heat index. Okay, this is why water is valuable to industry and your car's radiator as a coolant. Water has a very high surface tensions. In other words, water is sticky and elastic and tend to clump together in drops rather than spread out in the thin film. Surface tension is also responsible for capillary actions, which allows water to move through the roots of the plants and through the tiny blood vessel in our bodies due to surface tension. Now water temperature. Water temperature is not only important to swimmers or fishermen but also to industry and even fish and algae or aquatic plant. A lot of water is used for cooling purpose in power plant that generate electricity. They need cool water to start with and they generally release warmer water back to the environment. The temperature of the released water can affect downstream habits. Temperature also can affect ability of water to hold oxygen as well as ability of organism to resist certain pollutants. So that is the water temperature. Water temperature means it is not only important for swimmer fishermen, it is also important for fish and algae. Depending on water temperature, later we will discuss dissolved oxygen. This is a very important parameter. Okay. So lot of water is used for cooling purpose in power plants for generation of electricity. They need cool water to start with and they generally release warm water back to the environment. And also temperature release water can affect the downstream habits temperature also affect the ability of water to hold oxygen as well as the ability of organism to resist certain pollutants. Turbidity. Turbidity is a measure of the cloudiness of water. Turbidity is a measure of the cloudiness of water. Water cloudiness is caused by material such as dirt and residue from leaves. We know turbidity. Okay, not vivid. Turbidity is a measure of the cloudiness of water. Water cloudiness is caused by material such as dirt, residue from leaves that is suspended or floating in the water. Turbidity is measured in nepherometric turbidity units or NTU. So these are the physical properties under water: temperature, turbidity. Next, pH. This is also important, another important parameter of water. So we know pH, negative logarithm base to the power concentration of H plus ions, or you can say activity of H plus ions. We have already discussed in acid base what is pH, what is the pH range. Okay, and buffer solutions, everything I have discussed in the last video class. Okay, so pH is a measure of how acidic basic water is. The range goes from 0 to 14, within 7 being neutral. pH of less than 7 indicates acidity, whereas pH of greater than 7 indicates base. When carbon dioxide combines with water, such as water happens to the atmosphere, the fossil fuels are burned, carbonic acid is formed. We know cold drinks, there is a water and also dissolved carbon dioxide. What will happen? We will get carbonic acids. Since whose pH 6.4, when carbonic acid decomposes H plus HCO3, it should be it should be 2, okay, and it should be H plus and it should be HCO3 minus, okay. 2. Bicarbonate occurs pH 6.4. pH can be affected by chemicals in the water. pH also important indicator of water, that is changing chemically. Okay, upon the addition of acid and base, we have discussed in buffer solution, buffer actions. If you add HCl, what will happen? Because buffer solution resists the change of pH. So that's why when carbonic acid H2CO3 carbonic form due to the reaction of carbon dioxide water whose pH 6.4, when carbonic acids decomposes H plus plus HCO3 minus, it should be 3 HCO3, not 3 minus. Okay, so by mistake it should be subscript HCO3 minus. So that's why carbonic acid to bicarbonate occurs at pH 6.4. So pH can be affected by chemicals in water. pH is also important indicator of water, that is changing chemicals. Okay, pollution can also change the water pH due to acid rain. We know pH also changes, which in turn can harm animals and also plants living in the water. For instance, water coming out of abandoned coal mine can have pH of 2, which is very acidic and would definitely affect any fish species enough to try to live in it. So that is the pH, how pH affects on water. Okay, now specific conductance. So specific conductance, we know kappa, which is discussed in electrochemistry, although it is not included in your syllabus, equivalent conductance, specific conductance. So now it is the kappa is reciprocal of specific resistance. So specific conductance is a measure of ability of water to conduct an electrical current. Okay, it is highly dependent on the amount of dissolved solids such as salt in the water. Pure water such as distilled water will have a very low specific conductance, and sea water will have a high specific conductance. Rainwater often dissolve airborne gases and airborne dust while it is in the air, and thus often has a high specific conductance than distilled water. So specific conductance is an important water quality measure because it gives a good idea of the amount of dissolved material in the water. So it tells about how much dissolved material present in the water. So that is why we should know the specific conductance of particular water. We know pure water such as distilled water will have the very low conductance distilled water. If there is no ions such as deionized water or conductivity water, there is no ions, it should be conductance 0. Okay, so higher the number of ions, higher will be conductance. Now the dissolved oxygen. A small amount of oxygen up to about 10 molecules of oxygen per million of water is actually dissolved in water. This dissolved oxygen is breathed by fish and zooplankton and is needed by them to survive. Rapidly moving water such as in mountain stream or large river tend to contain a lot of dissolved oxygen because water is flowing continuously. So dissolved oxygen increases. While stagnant water contains little value of dissolved oxygen. So the process where bacteria in water helps organic matter such as which comes from sewage treatment plant. So due to the organic waste decomposition we absorb oxygen. So that means there will be reduction of dissolved oxygens due to the decomposition of agents of bacteria. We know BOD, COD, biological oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand. When you want to decompose organic waste, BOD or COD, so they need oxygens, dissolved oxygen fall. If dissolved oxygen falls, so what will happen? So the aquatic fish and plant will be threatened and extreme case they will be died. Saturated value of DO we know 3 to 5 milligram per liter. So that is the details of DO. How to DO measure in chemistry lab by Winkler's method. Okay. So manganese sulfate, sodium azide solution, potassium fluoride solutions. Okay. So next move on. Thus, excess organic material in our lakes and rivers can also cause an oxygen deficient situation to occur. Aquatic life can have a hard time in a stagnant water that has lot of rotting organic material in it, especially in summer when dissolved oxygen levels are seasonal and low. It can be determined by Winkler's iodometric method. Okay, so that is I have already told you how to determine dissolved oxygen, what is the importance of dissolved oxygen in water. Okay, so this is the very vital parameter of water, dissolved oxygens. Next come to the point hardness of water. The amount of dissolved salts like chlorine, chloride ions, not chlorine, chloride ions, sulfate ions, carbonate ions, bicarbonate, phosphate of calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus and generally sometimes Fe3 plus, aluminum 3 plus also take part in hardness of water. But sodium ions has no influence or has no contribution in hardness of water. Only calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus, sometimes aluminum 3 plus, Fe3 plus also contribute hardness of water. So hardness of water arises due to the presence of dissolved salts like chloride, sulfate, carbonate, bicarbonate, phosphate of calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus ions present in water. Determines the hardness of water. We know total hardness of water is the sum of permanent temporary hardness of water. Permanent and temporary hardness of water. Total hardness, permanent hardness and temporary hardness of water. Clear? So permanent hardness of water means permanent hardness of water arises due to the presence of dissolved salts like chloride, sulfate, phosphate of calcium 2 plus, magnesium 2 plus ions in water, and temporary hardness arises due to the presence of dissolved salts like carbonate and bicarbonate, okay, of calcium 2 plus, magnesium. That's why permanent hardness also called non-carbonate and temporary hardness also called carbonaceous hardness of water, and it is expressed in terms of milligram per liter or ppm 10 to the power 6 parts per million. That is the unit of hardness of water. So you know it is determined by complexometry titrations using primary standard substance zinc carbonate, zinc acetate, and also the EDTA secondary standard substance ethylene diamine tetraacetic acids using EBT, electron black tea indicators. Okay, so these are the structure of EBT, electron black tea indicators. Okay, CBD indicator pH 7 to 11. Okay, 1 over H minus gets O minus. Okay, this will form a metal complex, metal indicator complex, whose color is wine red. Okay, and when you titrate against EDTA, what will happen? This metal form a complex with EDTA, removing indicator. So this metal EDTA complex color is blue. So that's why after if you add again tab water or sample water, then again color becomes wine red due to the presence of what? Free indicators. So that's why. So that is the indicator three states in pH7 alkali medium. So this is the indicator metal complex. This is the metal EDTA complex. Okay, polydentate metals. It has 6 donor sites. Okay. So that is the hardness of water. We can determine hardness of water by complexometric method. Next, solubility. Hydrogen bonding can also provide explanation of solubility of certain compounds in water molecules. Whose molecules can form hydrogen bonds in water molecules are soluble in water. We have discussed, I already made a video lecture hydrogen bonding. So you see hydrogen bonding, you see this is the alcohol, this is the water, they can form a hydrogen bond. So in this way they will be more soluble in water. Next, suspended sediment. Suspended sediment means it is the amount of soil moving along in a stream. It is highly dependent on the speed of the water flow. When you treat the wastewater treatment by adding, the coagulation of populations, adding chemicals, the smaller particle gets aggregated from a big large particle, then gets sedimented bottom of the tank or precipitated out. So suspended sediment is the amount of soil moving along in a stream. It is highly dependent on the speed of the water flow, as fast flowing water can pick up and suspend more soil than calm water or stagnant water. During storm, soil is washed from the stream banks into the stream. The amount of that washes into a stream depends on the type of land in the rivers, drainage basins and the vegetation surrounding the river. Okay. Now intermolecular force of interactions. So in between two water molecules there is a chemistry, intermolecular force of attraction, that already I have discussed in the intermolecular force of attractions, Van der Waals force of attraction, dipole-dipole interaction, dipole-induced dipole interaction, induced dipole interactions. So I have already discussed, made a video. Okay, you watch this video, get the details. So intermolecular force of attraction means dipole-dipole force are present between the two H2 molecules. Oxygen being more electronegative pulls the share paired electron towards itself. What will happen? It possesses negative charge, partial positive negative charge. Whereas hydrogen being a less electronegative than oxygen, it also possesses partial positive charge. So that's why you see hydrogen partial positive, oxygen partial negative charge. What will happen? So this lone pair of oxygens or partial negative charge of oxygen interacts with partial positive charge of hydrogen. So through these interactions called intermolecular force of interactions. So dipole-dipole interactions. And there is a dipole, partial delta negative charge, there is a partial positive charge, it should be partial delta negative charge. So there is a dipole-dipole interactions. So that's why it is called intermolecular force of attractions. So water also shows the intermolecular force of attraction, or take part in the intermolecular force of interactions. Now, before going to discuss the structure of water, first, now selected physical properties of water. Molar mass, we know 18.01, melting point 00, boiling point 100 degrees centigrade, maximum density 3.98 degrees centigrade, 1 gram per cc cubic centimeter, density 25 degrees centigrade, 0.970 gram per cubic centimeter. If you go to a viscosity chart, you have seen this. Rho, vapor pressure at 25 degrees centigrade 23.75 torr, heat of fusion 0 degrees centigrade 6.01 kilojoules per mole, heat of vaporization 100 degrees centigrade 40.65 kilojoules per mole, heat of formation 25 degrees centigrade minus 285.85 kilojoules per mole, entropy of vaporization 25 degrees centigrade 118.8 joules per degree centigrade mole. And you know viscosity 0.8903 also depends on temperature at 25 degree centigrade. So the viscosity also chart, there will be a temperature range. With increasing temperature, there will be a viscosity changing. Surface tension at 25 degree centigrade, 71.97 times per centimeter. So these are the physical parameters of water. Okay. Now come to the structure of water molecules. Structure of water molecules. Water has a V-shaped structure. I have already made a video lecture on hybridizations and shape of the geometry. Okay, shape of the geometry and hybridizations. So water means central atom is oxygen. How many valence electrons? 6 plus univalent atom 2. That is 8 by 2. We get 4 repeats. Now out of 4 repeats, how many bonds left? 2. So we know 4 repeats means hybridization should be sp3 tetrahedral structure, but due to the presence of 2 bps and 2 lps, that is 2 lone pair of electrons, structure will be distorted, and it is a particular name V-shaped structure, or you can say bent structure. Okay, so that's why due to the presence of lone pair of electron, because we get 4 number of electron pairs, out of 4 pair hybridization sp3, but structure expected tetrahedral due to the presence of 2 lone pair of electron, its structure gets distorted or deformed. So tetrahedral to V-shaped structure. So water has a V-shaped structure. It is believed to form sp3 hybridization of oxygen. The angle HOH is 104 degree 4.5 degree. The normal angle in molecule formed by sp3, 109 degree 28 minutes. So deviation from angle is explained in terms of lone pair of electrons on oxygen, which I have already discussed during the discussion of this shape of geometry of the molecules. Okay. Now, because of big difference in electronegativities of hydrogen and oxygen, the latter drawn some charge and becomes negatively charged with hydrogen, acquiring a positive charge. I already told you, oxygen being a more electronegative, it withdraws electron clouds towards itself more. That's why it possesses partial negative charge on it, or bears partial negative charge. Whereas hydrogen being a less electronegative compared to oxygen, it bears partial positive charge. That's why there is a generation of polarity. Okay, so that's why the bond is polar. Huge electronegative difference. So now water hydride of oxygen is liquid at room temperature, whereas the hydride of other element of oxygen family like H2S and H2AC are gases at room temperature. This is because there is a hydrogen bonding, which I have already discussed in hydrogen bonding video lecture, and no hydrogen bonding in H2S and H2AC, because we know hydrogen bond can form only oxygen, chlorine and nitrogens. But it is definitely a boon for the mankind that water is liquid. If water is gas or solid or maybe except liquid, then it is very tough to live our mankind, including animal, plants, everybody. So that's why it is definitely a boon for the mankind that water is liquid at room temperature. Otherwise, life would have been miserable. So that's why this is the bent structure, 104.5 degree bond angle. You see partial delta negative charge, partial positive charge, partial positive charge. So this is like a V-shaped structure. So this is like a V-shaped structure. Okay. So this is the structure of water. Now structure of ice, I have already discussed structure of ice, because as your syllabus, just the term is included water chemistry. Okay, nothing is elaborated, which part will be taught. So that's why I try to concise all the things related to waters so that you can understand better. So structure of ice, the high boiling point of water compared to that H2S is due to molecular association through hydrogen bonding. Water can form hydrogen bond. If water can form hydrogen bond, then more number of water molecules get associated. What will happen? Surface area increases, boiling point increases, molecular mass increases. Okay, so the high boiling point of water compared to that H2S is due to molecular association through hydrogen bond. The crystal structure of ice shows a tetrahedral arrangement of water molecules. Crystal structure of ice shows tetrahedral arrangement of water molecules. This one, you see the hydrogen bond angle 1.76 angstrom, whereas normal OH bond 1.00 angstrom. Normal OH, which is covalently bonded already, and this is the hydrogen bond with another hydrogen atom of water molecules. So each oxygen atom surrounded by 4 oxygen atom. Each atom is surrounded by 4 oxygen atom. The arrangement of water molecules in ice is very open structure, and this explains the low density of ice. Very important. This explains the low density of ice. When ice melts, this arrangement of water molecule in ice is very open structure, and this explains the low density of ice. When ice melts, the structure breakdowns and molecules pack more closely together so that water has higher density, and this packing goes to maximum up to temperature 4 degrees centigrade. You see, this is the vacant space. Okay, lot of vacant space. What will happen? Again I tell you, the high boiling point of water compared to that H2S is due to the molecular association through hydrogen bonding. The crystal structure of ice shows a tetrahedral arrangement. This is the tetrahedral arrangement. Water molecules, each oxygen atom surrounded by 4 oxygen atoms. The arrangement of water molecules in ice is very open structure, and this explains why the low density of ice. When ice melts, structure breakdowns and the molecules pack more closely together so that the water has higher density, and this packing goes to maximum up to 4 degrees centigrade temperature. So chemical properties, you see, sodium with active metal reacts water. Okay, cold water we get sodium hydroxide and generation of hydrogen gas. Similarly potassium, cold water we get potassium hydroxide, hydrogen gas. Similarly calcium, cold water we get calcium hydroxide, hydrogen gas. Similarly magnesium with boiling water we get magnesium hydroxides and hydrogen gas. Similarly aluminium with hot water we get hydrogen gas. Similarly iron with hot water or steam we can say Fe3O4 H2O. Noble metals such as gold and silver do not react with water molecules at all. So Arium and silver do not react with water molecules at all. Next, amphoteric behavior, that also I discussed in the acid base course chapter. Amphoteric water acts as a acid as well as base. Okay, if water acts as acid as well as base, then it is called amphoteric behavior. So that's why water has a amphoteric behavior. HCl reacts with water, we get H3 positive plus Cl minus. Similarly, in case of ammonia, here water take up the proton. Here water gives protons. Here water takes proton from HCl, gives hydrogen, convert to hydronium ions plus Cl minus. Here water gives proton to ammonia, that is lone pair of nitrogen accept this proton, become ammonium ions plus OH minus ions. We know conjugate acid base, later we will discuss. So here HCl, here oxygen lone pair take up this H. Okay, so it become H3 positive and Cl minus. That's why water acts as a amphoteric. Okay, conjugate acid base behavior of water already we know. I have already discussed at Bronsted-Lowry concept, conjugate acid base. So we have discussed Arrhenius acid base and Lewis acid base, Bronsted-Lowry acid base. Okay, so again I discuss it. So as it is included again water chemistry. So consider the example of ionization of hydrochloric acid in water. HCl acts as an acid by donating proton to water molecules, which acts as a base. HCl, water, base, you get H2 positive, add protons. Okay, Cl minus. Here HCl, lose protons. This is the conjugate base. Okay, because Cl minus. Here add protons, that is This is the conjugate acid. So water conjugate acid is H3 positive. So HCl conjugate base is Cl minus. So it can be seen in the above equation that water acts as a base because it accepts the proton. The species H3 positive is produced when water accepts a proton from HCl. So Cl minus is a conjugate base of HCl and HCl is the conjugate acid of base of Cl minus. Similarly, water is a conjugate base of an acid H3 positive and H3 positive also conjugate acid of base water molecules like this. Okay. Now water acts as a conjugate acid when reacts with ammonia, where OH minus is called the conjugate base of an acid water and ammonium ion is called conjugate acid of the base NH3. Okay. Now let's see. Consider the example of dissolution of ammonia in water represented by following reaction. What? Ammonia in aqueous medium reacts with water in also aqueous medium. Reversible reaction, we get ammonium ions plus OH minus ions. Okay, which already I have discussed here. Why? Because during the nature of or behavior of amphoteric of water molecules, that has been details shown here. Which one? HCl plus water has been details shown here. Conjugate acid base. Okay, here details shown on the basis of Bronsted-Lowry concept. Similarly, ammonia plus water, which is also shown here in details of conjugate acid and base. You see ammonia aqueous reacts with water molecules. What will happen? Ammonium ions plus OH minus ions. So who gives protons? Ammonia adds protons to ammonium ions. So ammonium adds to protons how? As I told you, ammonium lone pair, nitrogen lone pair take up this proton and water molecule become OH minus ions. Similarly, water loses protons, become OH minus ions. Okay, so that's why the conjugate acid ammonia has a conjugate acid NH4 plus and OH minus a conjugate base of water molecules. So that's why water acts as a conjugate acid when reacts with ammonia, where OH minus is called conjugate base of an acid water molecules and ammonium ions is called conjugate acid of the base NH3. I told you here the simple reactions for showing the water when reacts with HCl, it gives H2 positive Cl minus. When it reacts with ammonia, it gives OH minus and ammonium ions. That means water with presence of base and acid, it behaves as an acid and base. So that's why it has an amphoteric behavior or characteristics nature of water due to the both acid and base property. It acts as a functioning of acid base property. Now in terms of conjugate acid base, what we have seen that here HCl reacts with water molecules to produce hydronium ions and Cl minus ions. That means HCl here loses electrons and water here add electrons. But actually in the mechanism, water molecules lone pair, the lone pair of water molecules, that is lone pair of oxygen, take up these protons and become O positive, that is OH3O positive and Cl negative. This is the mechanism. Similarly here what will happen? Ammonium ion lone pair of nitrogen take up the proton of water molecules. What will happen? NH4 plus, nitrogen positive plus charge, because lone pair is engaged to extract the proton from water molecules. So that's why it is ammonia plus ions, and it generates OH minus ions because water molecules one is abstracted by ammonium lone pair. So that's why OH minus acts as a conjugate base, whereas ammonium ions aqueous also conjugate acid. So that's why water acts as a conjugate acid when reacts with ammonia, this one, where OH minus is called the conjugate base of water and ammonium is called conjugate acid of the base ammonia. So that's why this is the water chemistry. I tried to concise all the topic so that the water chemistry, the topic water chemistry as mentioned in syllabus. Okay, I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching this video.